So do I look like a vampire? What's up, guys? Hello everyone, my name is Miranda. Oh, and my breath tastes very good right now thanks to that floss. Today I am here to review episode 8 of Shadowhunters, which was called Bad Blood. And this is the point in the video I'd normally sing a certain lyric from a certain song by a certain pop princess, but I don't want to get copyrighted by the queen of copyright, so I'm just going to refrain myself from doing that and just talk about the episode. First up, as always, if you haven't seen the latest episode of Shadowhunters and you don't want to be spoiled for what happens, thank you so much for stopping by, but we are going to have to part ways for now. If you want to check out any of my previous reviews for the other episodes, I'll leave a link to those down below in the description box for you, and I will see you guys in the future. Bye for now, non-spoilers. This episode was all about Clary's dilemma in now that Simon was attacked by Camille and turned into a fledgling. She has basically 24 hours-ish, maybe a little less, to decide if she wants to stake him and kill him or try and turn him into a vampire with the chance that he may be stuck in the dirt forever, and also that even if he isn't, he'll be a vampire. So, I mean, there's that. Clary is kind of faced with this impossible choice, and I feel like even if you haven't read the books, you kind of knew what she was going to pick because, I mean, Simon is a main character. They're not just going to get rid of him that easily, but still seeing Clary struggle with this, trying to figure out like what the right thing is. I think what Luke said was important when he said if you bring Simon back, if you turn him into a vampire, make sure you're doing it for him, not for you, because Clary does depend a lot on Simon, and I think ultimately her choice was for her, even though Luke said not to, because we saw how much Simon didn't want to be a vampire. And like, I don't know about you, but like, these aren't normal conversations I have with my friends, so I don't know if it ever came up where Simon was like, hey, if I ever almost get turned into a vampire, I'd rather you stake me than let me turn into a vampire. But I mean, we see that Simon really didn't want to be a vampire, but at the same time, we don't know what choice he would make had he been in this situation. Clary didn't have to make the choice for him, and it was a very impossible choice, and it was very heartbreaking to see it play out. The scene where Clary met with Simon's mom was really hard to watch and sad. Simon's mom on the TV show is so much better than in the books, because in the books you just wanted to slap her 5 ways to Sunday, but like in the show she's really trying to be a good mother, and you can see she's concerned for her son. She thinks he's on meth or some new fancy drug, and really it's so much worse than she could ever imagine. She just loves Simon so much, so I think that factored into Clary bringing him back, but then I also think she did ultimately bring him back for her because she couldn't be in a world without Simon, and she needed him so much because she said many times before that like he's her connection to the mundane world. He's her connection to her normal life before she knew the shadow world and all this crazy stuff that's happening. So I feel like had he died, and had he died because of something related to this shadow world, something that she brought him into, she would have lived with so much guilt, so much more than she has by bringing him back as a vampire. But that final scene in the cemetery was so well done, so well acted, so well written, so well played out. I just love when Simon was like literally horrified by what he was. He thought he was a monster, and Clary's trying to say, no, you're not, you're still my Simon, and he's not listening because to him he never wanted to be a vampire. And Clary's freaking out, crying, like trying to be like, you're still my best friend. Jace is trying to support her, but like holding her back because they don't know if Simon will, like he's a wild cannon. They don't know if he'll attack her by accident or not. So Jace like kind of holding her back. Jace was amazing in this whole episode. I feel like you could definitely tell he wasn't pro bring Simon back, and I kind of agreed with him, but at the same time he was very supportive of Clary. And I don't know if they were written or if it was just Dom improvising, but like all the little movements he had like comforting Clary were really nice, because that's the things I love in an OTP, is not like the big romantic grand gestures that the writers come up with, but just like the little things that maybe the actors improvise on their own, like when he kissed her forehead to comfort her, or when she was going to try and dig up the dirt for Simon's grave and she kind of just like collapsed, and Jace was like right there grabbing her because he could see she like couldn't handle this and she needed someone right now. So I just really liked all the Clary and Jace moments and how he was supporting her and how they were kind of more subtler things, but at the same time the subtler things to me mean 10 times more than any like great planned out big romantic speech will ever mean, because they feel more authentic and more like what it would in real life. We also got to hear the Falcon story, which I don't remember, I'm gonna be honest, if that was in the movie, but I mean, it was good to hear it. It was a little awkward how he's just like, there was once a boy, and Clary's like, we're doing story time now? I was like, yeah, Jace, we're on a time limit. We have 12 hours to save Simon or he dies. Do you want to tell us Cinderella while you're at it? You want us to go around and share a little story about our childhood? I was like, now is not the time, Jace. But it was still cool that he shared that and that they're bringing in more elements of the book. Speaking of which, we got to meet in this episode Lydia Branwell, who is not a book character. She's an original character, but she's related to Henry and Charlotte from the Infernal Devices series. She's a great descendant of them. And I have to say, I didn't think I was gonna like Lydia, but like, I don't know, like, I don't love her yet, but I'm starting to like her, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I feel like she's opposing the Lightwoods, obviously. Like, you see that it's not really like her decision to oppose the Lightwoods, and I think she's definitely a badass. She's definitely super cool. I think her relationship with Alec could be very interesting, because I think they're both on the same side, that they don't have any romantic feelings for each other. I mean, I don't know, maybe Lydia will develop something, but I think she's smarter than that, and I think she only has to see Magnus with Alec one time and she'll be able to figure out everything about Alec. She basically already did when Alec was talking about Magnus, and Alec was like, yeah, he's very magical, and I was like, smooth Alec right there. And then speaking of the other Lightwood, Isabel was really cool in this episode, even though she wasn't in it a lot, but she got to show off, I think, a different side of her, in that she wasn't trying to be her mother anymore, but we found out she's like their expert forensic pathologist that like knows all this stuff. So she really did like her sciencey stuff, and she was the one that figured out why the Forsaken had angel blood in them, even though she figured out just a hair too late. It was still really cool to see her kind of shine in her own way and see that even though her mother says like she gets too distracted, she does all this, she's really so great, and it's just a reminder that she doesn't need to be like her mother, because she's already awesome and 10 times better than her mother ever will be. Speaking of her parents, we found out from Lydia that the Lightwood parents were ex-Circle members, which I knew, obviously most of us knew from the books. Alec, on the other hand, did not know that, and it's interesting that he's kind of keeping this a secret from Isabel and not telling her, because, I mean, it's going to start driving a wedge in between them if he keeps it for much longer. But it's interesting to me that, like, even after finding this out, he still wants to protect his parents, and he's still willing to sacrifice his happiness for his family and for them. But in a way, I almost feel like he's doing this marriage with Lydia more for Isabel and more for Max, so they don't have so much scrutiny and are looked like so down on by the Clave like he is. Like, he's the one taking the sacrifice so his other two siblings can be happy and live their lives. And the Clave is just awful. Like, what you don't know about the Clave if you haven't read the book, they are so awful. To paraphrase John Oliver, they're like a high school boyfriend, and they're more concerned with like appearance than actually being effective at anything or useful. So the Clave is just awful, and I think we're gonna meet them in future episodes, and you're really gonna see how bad they are. I mean, Lydia is like, that's why I kind of like her, because she's not just like a little servant to the Clave. Like, she's doing what they want, but at the same time you can see she has her own thoughts, and I think it's going to be interesting when she first meets Clary. I think that's what's going to do it for me, is when she meets Clary and how she treats Clary. I think that's when I'm finally going to figure out if I like Lydia or not. So we will see what happens. But other than that, the episode ended with Simon turning into a vampire and running off to presumably join a boy band based on what he looks like in the next episode. I don't know what's going on with Simon, because let's just leave it. But if you have seen the new episode, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down below in the comments. And also make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel down below to be told to make all sorts of new videos. And I will see you guys next time, when hopefully Magnus and Alec actually have a happy scene together. Bye! Blood. I need blood. This is why I have no social life.